everyone, welcome back to another Python exercise, and this is exercise 10. And today we are going to learn something super simple but very important, which is how to swap two numbers using the temporary variable. And trust me, this is one of those basic concepts that can help you understand how memory and variables work in programming. And also keep this in mind that this question is the most repetitive question when it comes to interviews. So if you learn this one, then maybe this can help you in, cracking your interview as well. And let's first take a quick look at the flowchart before jumping into the code. So here is what happens step by step. So we start by reading two numbers and let's call them num1 and num2. And we introduce a third variable called temp, which is here, to temporarily hold the value of num1. So then we assign the value of num2 to num1. I hope you're getting my point. And finally, we put the value stored in temp into num2. So it's just like that, the values are actually swapped. So like for example, num1 equal to 5 and num2 equal to 8. And there is a temporary variable, there is nothing in that. Like for example, this 5 is assigned in temp. This 8 is assigned in num1. And then this 5 is assigned to num2. So we are just swapping the numbers and we are just changing the numbers through containers so that we can swap two numbers. That's it. Just using a temporary variable to swap. And then we are displaying the number 1 and number 2 after switching it. So finally, we put that value stored in the temp and then into the num2. So and just like that, the values are actually swapped, and let's move to the code now. But before that, I want you to explain it a bit more clear. Like for example, num1 equal to 5 and num2 equal to 8. There is a temporary variable box and you moved 5 to temp and 8 to num1 and 5 and that temp to num2. It's just that simple. So let's write program. Or if you guys are really interested and if you guys have knowledge in this, just keep this flowchart in front of you. Just pause this at this moment and you can start coding. If you still have any doubts or if you're a beginner, you can just start coding with me. That's fine. So just give num1 equal to input. Enter the value of num1. Same for num2. Input. Enter the value of num2. So here we are actually taking the inputs from the user. Okay, and then display the values before swap. So you can just print before swapping. Just print num1, or you can just give equal to or reasonable, comma num1, print num2, num2. Okay. And then here we are swapping using a temporary variable. So temp equal to num1 and num1 equal to num2, and then num2 will be the temporary. So temp equal to num1, and num1 will be num2, and num2 will be temporary. So now we just have to display values after swap. So you can just print after swapping. Print, you can just, just copy paste these two things. So this is what the swapping is all about. I hope you're getting my point. Like, for example, num1 is 8 and num2 is 5. So here we are actually showing them, and now temp equal to num1, which could be 8 here, and here the num2 will be, the num1 will be the num2. So what is the value of num2, which is 5? So 5 will be inserted here. And num2 equal to temporary. So what is the temporary variable? And what's the value of it? 8, right? So if you see here, initially num1 8 and num2 5. But now the num1 5 and num2 8. I want you to take a pen and paper. I would suggest you to write and try to trace it line by line. That is how you learn how programming exactly works, how each line will be executed. That's the beauty of it. If you write on, with pen and paper, that's the beauty of it. You will understand the beauty of it. So this is what we are doing in order to swap two numbers using a third variable. Okay, so if you see here, we are actually taking the input from the user, and let's say, 5 and 8. So before the swap, we display the original values, and then here we are actually swapping, and then after swapping, we are displaying the values. So that's pretty straightforward, right? But even though it's simple, the swapping method is used in so many real-world scenarios. Try this out yourself, play with different numbers, and see the magic happen. If you want, I can also explain how to swap two numbers without using a temporary variable. And trust me, that one's even more fun. So just comment down below if you need that logic or if you need the explanation of that logic. So don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and comment below if you understood the logic or if you want me to explain any part again. Just let me know and catch you in the next one. Happy coding.